It's common to feel unworthy of love, but uncommon to talk about it. So we're going to talk about it. We want you to know your worth so you remind others of theirs. I am your host, Eryn Eddy Adkins, and this is the So Worth Loving podcast. Hey, babe.
Hey.
You're so far away.
Not that far away. You just going to stare in my eyes this whole episode?
Yeah. What are we talking about today?
Oh, we're going to talk about dating after divorce and how you can put your worth in the process of that, which is difficult. Which is, we don't have a PhD in this subject, but we do have experience in this subject. Yeah.
We have a lot of people that ask us questions about dating after divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we've been, in our own stories, we've been really good students to maybe what not to do.
And what to do.
And what to do. Oh, I like that.
You learn both ways, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Where should we begin? Do you want to...
Maybe our story? You just
want
to share a bit of your story and then I'll share a bit of my story?
Do we want to share the story of how we met first, or do we want to share me dating and then you date? I think we share our story first. So I've known you since I was 23. We played on stage.
This is like
together.
the first time we've even shared our story, really.
I know.
Like through a microphone. You know what I mean?
This is fun.
Yeah, we have known of each other since like 2007 or 08 or something like that. You played guitar and I led worship at a church for like middle schoolers. Yeah, you had a mohawk.
I did.
I remember that.
Those were those rebellious days. No, I'm just kidding. I wasn't rebellious at all at that time. I had a mohawk. I was known as Eryn with the mohawk.
Yeah.
That's all I knew. And then we would cross paths every now and then in conference world, but I didn't really know you. And
I just knew of So Worth Loving.
Yeah. And I always knew
and the brand in Atlanta,
I knew you were like a guitar player.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I'd see you at like playing at like Catalyst or Orange or conferences and stuff. But neither of us thought like, ooh, she's cute or he's handsome, because we were married. Mm-hmm. And then I started working at Gwinnett Church.
Yeah.
And
in 2018?
2018, yeah. After my divorce, I started working there. I was kind of like in separation in my divorce. And
I remember you were just always in the family room taking pictures, or you helped with social media.
The family room, we call the family room,
AKA the green room.
But we don't like to call it the green room because it's family.
It's a room of connection, not of hideaway,
Yeah, I like that, yeah. We were in a family room having a conversation, and you were sharing with me some things that you were new into experiencing that I had experienced.
Yeah, you were like a year ahead of me in your divorce. And I remember in 2018 walking up to you in the family room and just letting you know, hey, this is something I'm walking right now that I've not walked and don't know how to walk. And you had a lot of compassion, and I knew that you had, walked through that. So, but in that moment, it was like this moment that hit me internally in my head. I was like, it was like you're hit with sorrow and anger and like, you're disoriented and the whole thing. But in the middle of all that, I was like, you know what? It's weird that I'm single again. Mm-hmm. And I was told, after a divorce, you should take a year off of dating, or
they say 2.
Pastor said 5 years, but it's like, no way that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I took a year off. But within that, I was like, maybe in a year, if you're still single or around, maybe I'll ask you out on a date, which was a really weird thought. And in that moment, at that time, it was very weird for me to think that, because I'm like going through this process of divorce, and I was married for 15 years. And I have 3 girls, and it's like your headspace into divorce again or into dating again is like, it's just, it's
feels
odd.
wrong.
It feels wrong at the time. It feels like you're cheating. I think that's why, for me, it was very healthy, very healing to not even look left or right for at least a year, which I didn't.
Yeah. You poured into yourself a lot. I didn't know you, but you would share that with me, that you started working out, going for walks, reading books. You look good.
Yeah. At the time.
Babe.
But now,
great now.
Now they say, never mind.
That's where you're going to go with that.
If you're married, you just let yourself go.
No,
you
not.
get the dessert tanks back. Just playing. But it's okay. We're healthy.
We're healthy.
We're good.
We're healthy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I saw that from a friend.
Pinged that in your mind that you were going to ask me out on a date or something in a year, right?
I like that you said that. It felt wrong, but I was like, it's just, you're so disoriented.
Yeah.
Coming out of, and I know every divorce is different.
Yeah.
But to be married for 15 years with 3 kids and to be blindsided by something that happened to you, you're just in a whirlwind of emotions and you're alone and it's lonely and you want to be, you're used to walking in to a house with a family and people with you. And then now you're walking into a house and it's like crickets.
Yeah.
What do you do with yourself? And so I can see how it's very easy to jump right back into dating after a divorce. And you wrestle with your identity being tied to, this was who we were as a family. And now that's completely obliterated. And it's like, okay, well, my identity and worth was tied up in some of that. And now there's none of that. So now where's my worth and my identity and who am I? And you start you have to wrestle through all those,
How was that
questions.
As a man to deal with that? Those questions? Because I feel like guys wrestle with the lack of knowing your worth differently than women do.
Yeah, like feeling unworthy or having worth. I think men sometimes might not use the word worth, but it's the same meaning, which is I don't measure up or I didn't measure up. I'm a failure. But that's all tied into worth. So there were some of those voices in my head after divorce of like, as you go into healing and therapy and all that stuff, it's like you got to own what you need to own. You can't just blame shift and blame. But as you're like, but you don't want to take on too much because it's like, oh, I'm just a failure. I didn't measure up or I didn't do this right or this right. So I'm just like worth nothing, So it does come back to worth. I think men think about it as
measuring up. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Because I see that even now. We've had conversations where it's like we'll have like a fight or something, and it's more that
we fight
only like once, like in a blue moon.
Actually, they say fighting
leads to intimacy,
builds intimacy.
That's what they say.
Jordan Peterson said something about fighting and how if you miss out on fights, you suppress.
Oh yeah.
And then you'd miss out on 10,000, 50,000 fights over the course of 10, 15, 20, 50 years, and then you've missed out on building intimacy and you've just suppressed everything. So
something suddenly happens. It's really the 50,000 fights that you avoided or you suppressed.
Yeah.
It's something along those lines of what he said. I really like that.
We do fight. Yes.
Yeah, we do fight. But yeah, it'll be like when we fight, I'll go into this like, you don't love me. I'm not valuable to you. And you'll go into this, I'm not measuring up to you. But it's really the same language.
Well, marriage after divorce, dating after divorce is a season, and then marriage after divorce is a whole other thing, because then you're triggered by your past, or you bring your past in. And we've been counseled to talk about our triggers.
So we work through them.
Or exposure therapy, go back to places like for a long time, you never wanted to go to Waffle House. And I'm like, Waffle House is great.
I'm like, no, I never want to go to Waffle House.
And I'm like, why don't you want to? And you just had a really, really bad experience with your former there. And then to break that exposure therapy, we went with the girls.
We went with the girls. It was so
and
fun.
It kind of redeemed it. Yeah.
Now I'll go to Waffle House. Yeah.
But hold on. What was your going back into dating? Like because you were a step ahead of me, what was your experience like in dating after divorce?
I threw myself way in it. Like I even dated it during my separation.
Oh, you didn't wait a year?
I didn't wait a year. I didn't wait a week. I'm just kidding.
A day?
A day. No. I mean, yeah, I went towards the end of our separation. I remember I went on a date and my dad was like, "You are not going on this date." And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And he was like acting like my father again, even though I was 30. I mean, he is my father, but it was different telling your 30-year-old daughter that she can't go on a date. And he's like, "You're still married." And I'm like, "In a month I won't be." I was just and I had sought after attention even in the separation because I wanted to be
So you were dating in that separation period?
Kind of. Like towards the end, I went on 1 or 2 dates. But I sought like attention, just like by the way I dressed. Like I was so pursuing of, I felt entitled. I felt like.
Why did you feel entitled?
Oh my gosh, why am I going to cry? This is like a therapy
that's
session.
What you do.
It's because you're sweet in the way you ask questions.
Why? No, but for real, what you felt entitled?
I felt like I had done all the good Christian girl things and I had been so loyal. And then when I had the emotional affair, and then other stuff came out that was a secret that had been going on for over a decade that I had no clue about. And then I was like, well, then why did I shame myself for having a 3 months of probably starting to catch feeling and then 2 days into the awareness of the affair that I was like, why did I shame myself and blame myself? And I was just so angry that I was like, forget it. And I responded like our therapist talks about, like, you can respond to betrayal in 2 different ways. And I responded with a storm. I was just like, forget it. I'm out for vengeance. I'm entitled. And that's how I went into dating, which is like, Brene Brown talks about like, do your healing. Don't do your healing with yourself. Don't do your healing on other people. Yeah. And I did my healing on other people. Which was not, it's not good. Yeah. But I did. After the divorce, I dated. I would jump into serious relationships. It was hard for me to just date because I had met my former when I was 17, married at 21, divorced at 30, had no idea how to date. Didn't know how to respond to people flirting with me, complimenting me, and then me like receiving it and liking it.
I mean, dating, how long did you and your former date?
We dated for 4.5 years before we got married.
So
I didn't date because I was 17.
Well, I'm dating when you're 16.
It looks different
versus when you're 30 is a big difference. I'm similar in that. So I met, my former in church. We grew up together. And then we started dating. She was 17, I was 19, and we were married when she was 20 and I was 22, and they were married for 15. So it's like dating when you're a teenager versus when you're in your 30s.
It's a lot different.
And already married is difficult.
Well, when we were saying how like when you date, it feels like you're cheating. Like when all of a sudden you're allowed, when you actually are like, oh, I'm allowed to date. Like that's.
And some people were explosive in it.
Yeah, like me.
And then other people are not.
Are not. But so like to your point when you said it feels like cheating, even though you can date now, it was like that even with like compliments and like allowing myself to receive them was weird. Like, it was like, oh, I don't feel bad. Like if a guy was hitting on me and like in the past, I would like deflect or like think that it was bad and dirty and like, or like, oh my gosh, don't do that. Like inside myself. So then to go from that to like, oh, I'm flattered. That's kind that you see that in me, but no, I'm not interested. I didn't know how to do that muscle. Like that
or
muscle.
flirt or anything.
No,
Yeah.
that muscle had not been worked out. I didn't know how to do that. And healthily.
I get that. I felt the same way on like a man's side. Like I didn't know how to flirt or put myself out there.
Aww.
You know, it felt wrong. It felt wrong for a very long time.
That's probably why we went on like 6 months of dates before I realized you liked me. We can get to that later.
I mean, also my therapist told me to date. At the time, you know, it had been about a year. And I was going to my therapist. And he said, okay, I think you're ready to date. But let me give you a couple like parameters and rules around dating. I'm like,
rules?
Oh gosh, what?
What are rules?
I don't know. You know, it's like, this feels like you're putting me in a box. He's like, it's really just one rule. Matt, you need to go date a lot of women. And I'm like,
so outside of who you are.
well, and I think that's why he said it. Because he said, you're the type of man that's going to date a person and you're so loyal that you're going to lean in and you're not going to date anybody else. He's like, you got to go figure out what you need in this next season.
Yeah.
So you need to go date a lot of different women, which felt wrong again, because I felt like a player, you know, in the whole thing. But pretty much what I'm saying, Eryn, is you were one of 10 women I was dating at the same time.
I feel so special.
But that's what my therapist told me to do. So I was like, which felt weird, you know. But yeah, you're right. We went on our first date August 2nd of 2020. So, you know, I got divorced in 2019, and then 6 months later, COVID hit. And so now I'm not only alone in my apartment, I'm alone and cut off from community. Which I am like an introvert a little bit more by nature. So that alone time actually was really healing for me. I had a secure job. And so I was reading a lot, working out a lot, sitting by the pool a lot, walking a lot.
You're living your best life.
Therapy online, the whole thing. So everything kind of shifted to online.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I remember Taylor, our friend Taylor. Shout out Taylor.
Yeah, she hooked us up.
She set us up. She texted me and said, hey, do you know Matt Adkins? He asked if I could give you your number. And I was like, you can give him my number, but tell him I'm not dating. And
why'd you say that?
I said that because, you know, like we talk about this, like you have too much sugar, eventually you're going to want salad. For me.
Right. Salad is the healthy, sugar is the unhealthy.
In dating, I was just eating all the sugar. I was just.
And probably shugging too.
Shugging? Oh my gosh.
So I just want to make you laugh. I'm sorry.
I shouldn't sugar. Shugging. But I should.
You threw yourself into dating though.
I did, yes. And by the way, anybody listening, we all know, him and I know all of our secrets because we have.
Yeah, we got to let y'all know. Like, listen,
yes.
We know everything about everything.
Every
about
relationship,
all the dating.
all the names, all the people, all the things.
Yes, details. So.
There's no secrets here.
None.
Well, and we have done that in our relationship.
Which is freeing, by the way.
It is freeing. It's freeing to know that I can share that, and your worth and your confidence isn't found in my performance or lack of performing well.
Yeah.
Is being a human. That's so freeing. I just didn't know where I was in dating. I was living in the country. I felt for the first time I could go on dates and not attach myself to somebody, but just enjoy going on a date. If somebody asked me on a date, I'll go on a date. But when I told her no, it's because I wasn't interested. in you. And I didn't want to hurt your feelings, and I didn't want there to be any pressure on me. And so I just was like, I know he's newly divorced as of a year. And I was like, I don't want to be his rebound. So tell him that I'm not dating. But I really actually was dating.
You were dating?
Yeah.
Actually, somebody.
I was dating a few people.
Yeah.
Like that would ask me out on a date, not like I was shugging everywhere. Sorry to bring it back to that. No, but I was like healthily learning how to date. Yeah. And I enjoyed it. And I actually think dating is when you can get to a place where you're confident in like not attaching yourself to a person, it can be enjoyable. And I know single people hate hearing that. Some do. Being divorced and single, I had to get to that place.
Yeah.
Because my worth isn't found in my relationship status.
Which is easy to do.
So easy to do.
What was some unhealthy advice that you got, and maybe some healthy advice? Because there was we talk about this, like you threw yourself into dating in an unhealthy way for a year or so, and then something happened, and then you took a year off, and then you had kind of just started getting out of that and dating again. So you had some either bad advice that you were telling yourself or from somebody else, and then somebody or something told you.
I was told
differently
to do things that make me happy. But when you're not happy and you don't really know what makes you happy except for like instant gratification, that's really destructive behavior for me. That looked like drinking at bars and letting guys buy my drinks and finding just so much enjoyment in that, as shallow as that is. That's what I'm not shaming anybody that's in that season, but it needs to be a season or not one at all. You know, it's not ever going to satisfy you.
Well, it could lead to more regret.
And to me, it did. It was like I just kept pursuing, like, just wanting to be seen as attractive when I walk in a room of a restaurant or a store. Like that level of like just so longing.
You wanted attention.
I wanted attention. I wanted to be seen. And so the bad advice I got was be happy, do what makes you happy, live your quote unquote, your truth. But my truth was, and I've said this before, it's like, it was a bunch of lies. So I was really living out my lack of confidence and security in who I am, and it being enough, and me not having to pursue other people to validate it. So I went into dating relationships really to extract, it wasn't love, it was extracting their affection for me to feel better, which is selfish.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't know that that's what I was doing until it led to a bunch of like regret. And I remember one night coming home a little tipsy, had too much wine. And I was just like, I remember looking in the mirror, taking my makeup off and being like, oh, like, is this the life that I want? Where I'm on this hamster wheel of searching and not finding. And I'm just doing it over and over and over again. I remember taking a bath and just bawling my face off. And I just remember, I always cry when I tell this story. You've seen me tell this story so many times. It's like God's like tickling me, my tear ducts every time.
I want to hear it again. Tell me.
Huh?
Tell the people.
I remember sitting in the bathtub just bawling and saying like, God, do you have somebody for me? Like I've experienced this. I'm angry at this. This happened in my former, like, where were you? You didn't protect me. I was so angry at God. At that point, when I was dating a lot, I was so angry at him that I was really defying him. I was like, I was actually listening to podcasts that were kind of I thought I was deconstructing, quote unquote,
your
deconstructing my
faith.
faith, but really it was just not doing that. It was just deconstructing faith in general, the faith in God, who God is. And I was starting
It's
to believe.
okay to deconstruct if you just build it up. But,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is okay to
which I think
deconstruct
is
if
what
you
you
rebuild
did.
it healthy.
But you were mad. You were pissed off.
Yeah, I was so angry at God that I was like, actually, I don't even think you exist anymore. Even though that's funny because I was talking to him. I don't think you exist. I'm going to talk to you. And I just remember there was a moment where it was like, it wasn't audible where you're like, if somebody walked in, they'd hear it kind of thing. It was just like a pressing voice that said, I know you're tired. But before he said, I know you're tired, he said, are you tired? And God knew to meet me with a question because I had been told what to do, that I should do these things. And I didn't want to be told again in regards to faith to believe or do or act or perform or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I remember him being like, are you tired? And it was like this, like I can see you're so tired. And when I was met with that voice, I started crying and I was like, I'm exhausted. And I remember saying like, where were you? And he said, I want to hold what you've been holding so tight to. That looked like debt collectors calling me. That looked like letting go of what people think and the gossip. And it didn't, that experience that I felt was God, I know was God. It didn't change my circumstance. It didn't change the debt collectors calling me. It didn't change people not talking bad about me. It didn't change how I felt about a relationship that I had been in that ended, a dating relationship. It didn't, like, that experience didn't change, but what did change was me. Like, I was like, okay, I tried doing all the good Christian girl things where I was performing. That, you know, quote unquote, didn't work. And then I did my own way. That didn't work. So then I was like, well, I'm going to slowly start letting God in on everything. And I just started journaling everything that I had chosen, thought, felt, did. And it was like a prayer. Like I would just pray in my journal to God, almost like confession. And that started just shifting in me over time. And so when it came to dating, then it was like, I don't know, it felt like that's when I wanted to take a year off. And my friend Joe, shout out to Joe in Brooklyn, Brooklyn Stroll Club. I remember telling him, and he joked, he's like, Eryn, 31-year-olds don't date Jesus. Like, that's like for when you're 17. And I was telling him I was dating Jesus.
Yeah, I remember that when that book came out. A lot of guys were bummed when that book came out because they didn't have a date. Every girl was dating Jesus at church.
Every girl was dating Jesus. I did. I wanted to like be confident in my faith with him, and then I was like, okay, now I just want to enjoy dating. But that moment changed me.
Yeah, that question that the Lord asked you was really Jesus's words in Matthew, in Scripture, Matthew 11:28. It's like, are you tired? Are you weary?
Are you burned out? Tired of
Tony,
religion?
I give you rest. So, I mean, I didn't know you in your wild years, but
you saw me at church though, because I was.
I didn't know what was going on.
I was showing up a little.
We could talk about people putting masks on at church, and like I didn't know that was going on.
Yeah.
And so when I was ready to date, I had done a lot of healing, and I went to betrayal trauma therapy for a year and worked through that and tried to disconnect a lot of lies that have been spoken over me, not even just in my former marriage, but even just in the past with work and just working through a lot of performance driven acceptance. If I do good, then I have more value and worth in this relationship or in this job, or so I've had to disconnect a lot of that, and you still got to be reminded because it's easy to slip back into that performance mindset. I was ready to, when my therapist told me, it was like, hey, you need to go date. We met
for coffee.
And you didn't think it was a date. That's what you told me, like months later. But my pits were sweaty. We went to Beetle Cat, which is a 4 or 5 restaurant in Atlanta, which is amazing.
Because the coffee shop was closed, or it was only a walk-up window.
That's right.
So we were.
Beetle Cat was open, and we both love oysters.
I need to give you credit for this.
Okay.
You sent me this is what I loved when we were dating. You would send me, made reservations. You sent me the address. You'd text me 30 minutes before, I think you were probably I hope she shows up. But in my mind, I thought you were being
I was like, is this how you date?
You would text me 30 minutes. It was sweet. And I loved, you sent me the address and so I had it and I was headed over to the coffee shop, and then you text me, you're like, hey, we're going to Beetle Cat, that place. So you got there early, probably to scope out the space. And I get to Beetle Cat. We both love oysters. I used to never love oysters. And we were there for 3 hours.
Yeah, we talked about both of our stories, talked a lot about this. Mm-hmm. Super nervous. You were so cool. And you're like, great. Well, it's great to see you. And then.
Did I give you a side hug or a front hug?
I think it was kind of like a mix. It was like a one-handed front hug or something. But you went on, and then, I went back and, texted you probably 2 weeks later, and no response. And it was like a week that goes by, and maybe 2 weeks, and you didn't text. I was like, oh. So, and then you finally texted back, and then, so I thought you weren't, interested. So I moved on and
I don't know
dated multiple women because that's what I was told to do. But I knew my story was complex, having 3 daughters, and I knew that, being married for 15, going through a divorce, having 3 daughters, it's I'm already cautious by nature. Mm-hmm. So it's you step into another relationship. It's I don't want to be another statistic of, what is it, 70 plus?
Might be higher than that.
% of second marriages fail.
70 or 80% of second marriages end in divorce.
And it's oh my gosh, I don't want to. We're already in the camp of being divorced. I don't want to relive this or walk into something else. So I sat down with the Lord in my journal and wrote a list, and it felt really selfish at the time. But my therapist was you need to write down what you're looking for in a woman. And so I wrote down a lot of things, hey, I need to be aligned spiritually. The obvious stuff is I want to be attracted. I want this person to be attracted to me.
I don't think that's bad.
But it's I want this person to love me for who I am, and if you're.
And how you're wired.
And how I'm wired. So if you do the color test, I'm a blue-green. If you do the Enneagram, I'm a 4, wing 5, but you think I'm a 6, wing 7. I'm an INFJ. So I've done a lot of work here's who I am. And here's who I'm not. And so I need somebody to love me and accept me for who I am.
Yeah, I remember you sent me a Dropbox folder of all of your tests when you were dating. I was like, what are you on that? And you're like, here it all is.
Yeah. We can talk about that lingo and stuff. But the list went on. It's just look, I had to get real vulnerable. I I can't have kids anymore. I've had surgery. And so if I date somebody who wants kids, is this a big deal?
Yeah.
And would love somebody who would be a really great bonus mom or stepmom. So you're listing out all these things. And truly, I was dating multiple women. And
Tell us about the ladies, Dave.
You would go on, I would go on dates with somebody and they either, I remember this one date and found out that she had never really had a boyfriend. She was younger.
How young?
She was 29.
Okay.
I think 28.
That's okay. Just wanted to clarify just in case.
But I was 39 at the time, so this is like a decade. I'm 43 now.
You were 39.
Yeah, I think it was 39. But it's like, man, I can't, this person doesn't have the life experience to come in and hold what I'm walking. It's like, this is, so as much of a gentleman as possible, I would move on.
You were really good at like telling the women, like, this is a no-go. I really respected that about you when you told me that. You would tell women, like, this is not going to go beyond this point.
Yeah.
You did it kindly. Some women, they live in misery of wondering.
Well, I'll say, dating or dating periods, like it's easier to ghost. It's easier to not reply or to lie or to make up a story or something like that. And it's like, you just got to try to do the honorable thing and at least just be honest, even though I remember sitting another woman down, like, she's like, hey, do you think this is ever going to be a thing? I'm like, I know. It's like, we can be friends, but it's hard to be friends with somebody that you've already dated and gone out.
And they want to date you.
Or that want to date you. And there's feelings and it's not reciprocal. And so it's like, hey, this is not going to go anywhere. But, thankful for our time and what I've learned. And so, that's kind of the hard, narrow road maybe at times. But I didn't do it perfect, but I tried my best. But you always kept coming back. And something drew me back in our conversations because we were able to go deep fast. And I didn't know, I didn't know like the wild years of your dating, but I knew that something had shifted and changed in you. And for me, I felt safe with my story. Something else that was on my list is like, I need somebody to understand what I've walked through because it was so traumatic and dark and lonely and confusing and disorienting. And so, you were able to meet me there as well in my story, which I felt safe and seen in.
Which is interesting because I think if people knew us separately, and we experienced this when we were dating a little bit, if people that didn't know me but knew of my past and knew of you in your past, they thought it was a surprise that you would want to date me because of my past of having an affair.
Because of the reputation?
Because of, I mean, I'm just saying, like, people, we faced a little bit of people's, kind of like waiting for us to end or something because of my past. But you would always share with me, like, you felt like I had owned my part and the Lord.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of your journey with health and therapy, and like you have to own your part, and you have to. I mean, you did, and I mean, when you hear that side of somebody's story, honestly, if you're dating after divorce, and the other person is still blaming and still angry at the other person, there's going to be some of that, but you can almost like discern and sense like this person hasn't done the work, or they're not over this, or they're going to bring this in. And like you said earlier, like you're just going to throw the healing on somebody else kind of thing, or they haven't healed. So you have to discern some of that stuff. And it can be so unhealthy to bring that in, even though, you're going to bring some stuff in, but that wasn't with you like that. You owned what you needed to own, which was honest. And if you want something in a relationship, you're going to want an honest relationship. And so I valued that in our relationship.
It's sweet. So I eventually texted you back. We went on a couple dates. We went on like a hike. And I remember I asked you how your dating life was.
Yeah, and then I immediately thought, oh, cool, friend zone. One more time. You're asking how my dating life's going. I guess this is not a date.
That was like a power play, I think.
On your part?
Yeah, because I think partially because I wanted to share that I was also dating other people. So I didn't want you to think that I was being exclusive to hanging out with you.
What was my answer?
You answered it. You were like, it's been interesting. And you had shared, I think you had taken somebody to JCT, rest in peace, JCT, but we love you, Little Sparrow, Ford Fry Restaurant.
We do love some Ford Fry.
We do love Ford Fry's food. But yeah, I think you had shared that with me that we talked a little bit about your dating, but then something happened. And it was, you joined my book launch team. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. And it was something really important to me to be in a relationship with somebody that was supportive to my career, because my past, I had experienced inferiority. I remember I had a guy that told me that if I ever spoke on stage, he would never be the man in the back holding my jacket.
I remember you telling me that.
And I just remember like that. And then we actually broke up like 2 weeks after that.
Because he wanted the limelight?
Yeah, he didn't want to be
the side piece?
He didn't want to be treated like, which is weird in itself. His own stuff that he hadn't processed, his ego or something, I don't know. But I remember that being told that, so I knew it was important to me that anything that I pursued or did, I never wanted it to be a point of tension in the relationship to where I'm made to feel small or shrink for somebody to feel better. But then I remember you read my book and you asked me to, after you finished it and my book launch, you asked me out on a date. We went on a few dates, I guess, before that, but this was one that was significant where I was like, oh.
Yeah, the light bulb turned on.
I think he might like me. And I had him text you back a few times, and before that, there'd be like months at a time. And then I invited you to my birthday dinner, and it was a small group of people. And I remember telling Tony that my girlfriend, I said, he's been like super supportive of my book. And I'm like, I was so like just guarded. And I also had been dating someone off and on, like not exclusive, but had dated a guy in Indiana. It was like long distance dating. And I think God needed to prepare my heart to receive somebody like you. And I don't think that
your chin is shaking.
I know it's so dumb. Just does this thing when I cry. I had shared this before. I think I wanted to be trustworthy for your heart, because I knew what you had walked through and I didn't want to mislead you. At the same time, I also felt like I wasn't like worthy of healthy. I had normalized like unhealthy what felt safer. They always say like unhealthy feels, or healthy can feel scary, and healthy felt very scary.
Why did it feel scary?
Because I was so used to like unhealthy behavior. It was like just dysfunction and like inferiority and almost like love bombing. Like I go on dates with people and they would just love bomb the heck, just tell me all the things.
And you felt
everything.
safe in that?
Yeah. It felt like even though their character ended up not being consistent and steady in the beginning, it felt like, oh, this is what this feels, it goes back to feeling good. Like, this feels good, so it must be good. But that's not always healthy or true. Mm-hmm. And so for me, healthy with you felt scary and like not good.
Because I didn't love bomb you?
Because you didn't love bomb me. And you were just consistent and steady. You weren't trying to persuade me into dating you. You were just curious to get to know me and with no strings attached. Mm-hmm. I was used to like performing. It's like if there were strings attached, I was like, oh, I can.
You had woo and all the
charm
things.
And that felt safer for me.
It felt safer for me to be cautious and just like, you're probably just experiencing me being very cautious and protective of the girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the only woman that met my girls.
I remember the day I met them. It was so sweet.
Yeah. So you didn't feel safe and you felt undeserving. Why did you feel undeserving of something different?
I felt like you are such a man of like character and consistency. I had developed so much baggage that I was like, there's no way that you'll love all of this. It's the dang chin.
What stood out to me and what drew me back on a date and then another date and then another date was not only our conversation, not only your honesty, but I knew that Jesus did something really powerful in your life and broke something off. And that was really the thing that was like incredibly attractive about the relationship. Something that I could trust and not only feel safe in, but like you were fully surrendered to like owning your past and then fully surrendered to what the Lord would have you have in the future. And I knew stepping into another relationship, the only way that this was going to work is if Jesus was at the center. And for me, in my story with divorce and dating, you said you heard the Lord. I heard the Lord early. And he just said, stay the course. Don't veer left or right. Stay the course. And, my experience with the Lord in his voice, it's not this audible thing, but what is so crazy is when he speaks something, he always affirms it. And it came from different people saying the same thing over my life.
Stay the course. Yeah.
Somebody mailed something to me randomly and it said, stay the course. And so there's just these, like, it's not coincidence. And for me, it was something that you even spoke in early on in our dating. And it was like, it was just this, it was our conversation. And when you said that and seeing what the Lord had done in your life, that was the thing that like, okay, let me take a little step further into our dating. And then that was when I was like, okay, the other ladies that I was dating, I was like, hey, not going to happen. And then we talked about being exclusive. And then we did that for a couple months. So, my journey in dating after divorce and putting my worth in what was in my former Marriage and then work. And, I did a lot of traveling and played guitar on a lot of different stages. And it is so easy to put your identity and worth in something that you do, somebody you're attached to. Yeah. And when you don't get the date, you feel unworthy. And when you do get the date, you feel worthy. And then something happens and then you're like, I didn't measure up, or I don't feel worthy.
So true.
And so it's like a roller coaster.
Yep.
Honestly, the year that I took off of dating was the least amount of anxiety I had ever had. And then as soon as I went back into dating, it was like anxiety went through the roof. So, and it was through apps, like Match and, Hinge. Was that what it was?
Bumble.
I did Bumble for a hot second, and then I saw my former, and I'm like, nope, not ready. But yeah, it was, you were on Farmers Only though.
I was.
Actually, I just teed that up. I wanted to go into dating apps because I wanted to tell everybody you were on. Just share it with everybody what Farmers Only is.
I was on Farmers Only. I don't know my login. I may still have an account on there. I don't think I do. I think I deactivated it.
Yeah, you have to actually delete your account. I actually might. My accounts might still be open.
You can't delete the app.
Match
You have to but they didn't have an app. Like that's how bad their web interface is.
Did you ever get hit on through Farmers Only?
I'm sure. I actually
ranch farmer.
My mom was like, "You just need a good old boy that cares for you but doesn't care about what you do." Because for some reason at the time it was like people would find out that I write or I own a business or whatever, or the business was successful, that there would be this like weird stigma of like inferiority. And so my mom's like, just date a good old boy, like a farmer. And then we were watching the news one night because I moved back home at this time when I signed up for Farmers Only. And the news comes on and then there's a commercial and it's for Farmers Only. And so her and I decide to...
That's funny.
There was like 2 glasses of wine of courage to get us to sign up for Farmers Only. Liquid courage. Signed up for Farmers Only.
Did you ever go on a date with a farmer?
I never even looked to see if I made the account. And then I was like... Then I started looking at some of the farmers. And I was like... I just was like, I just don't think this is for me. I did Bumble. I like talked to a few people, but I never went on dates with them.
Did your anxiety go through the roof when you're swiping left and right? Mine did.
No.
Because you'd always like, okay, I'm going to put myself out there and then get no response. And then you do that to like 10 different girls or guys and then you don't get a response. And then you're just like, well, crap. And then you start getting in your head and then you attach your worth to that. And then you're like,
but I think that I had the opposite. I think I was like, my defense mechanism, instead of like, oh, I don't measure up, it's like their loss, But that's actually probably did hurt my feelings. But in my brain, I was like, their loss, it's fine.
Yeah, whatever. I was like, I guess I'm not good enough. I guess I'm not good enough. That was literally what I said.
So sweet, babe.
Yeah.
I want to say in dating, I want to ask you a question. When did you think I was a ride or die? Like, when did you realize, like, oh, this girl's in it?
The first time you asked me to marry you.
You said the first time.
Yeah.
Because how many times did I ask you to marry me?
Like 6 or 7.
I did. I was serious too. But the first time you were like, you need to meet my daughters. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, you probably need to meet my girls first before you ask that question.
That might be. Yeah. I was like, I'm in, babe. That was moving too fast. Therapists
when did
would say
you
that
think
that's
we
not
were
wise.
ride or die?
Huh?
When did you think we were ride or die?
Oh, okay. When it was our first Christmas as a couple dating. And we were with the girls and I was at church feeling a little weird. I just felt a little queasy. And it was I think it was Christmas. It's my first Christmas with your family as the new girlfriend. 6 months in, I think into dating. We're on our way over to your parents' house, and I start to feel really queasy. And I'm like, I think I'm just car sick. I think that's what this is. And then we get into your parents' house, and your mom is so sweet. She makes this gluten-free green bean casserole. She makes...
it was Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Oh, maybe it was Thanksgiving.
It was Thanksgiving,
Was
I think.
it?
Might have been Christmas.
No, it was Christmas because we opened presents.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember, like, I'll get there. Gluten-free bread, gluten-free is my love language. I hate that I'm gluten-free, but doesn't mean I don't like carbs. Like, give me a good gluten-free rice flour filled thing. Your mom just baked, and she sets it right in front. She's so excited. She shows me all the gluten-free, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think the girls had the flu, or somebody had the flu that we were near like a couple of days ago. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, that looks so great. And I was like, I need to use the restroom. Can I use the restroom? And I go and I use the restroom. This is how I know you're ride or die. I might have a long story. I go and I use the restroom. I end up throwing up. The worst. I throw up in the trash can, if you can understand how I'm sitting. I'm like literally on the toilet throwing up in a trash can. And I'm at your parents' first Christmas. And I'm like, this could not be the worst timing. And I put the bag. Your mom she's so prepared. She has like her trash bags are underneath the trash bag.
She puts the grocery bags in the trash can.
Yes.
At all times.
And there's like a bunch of them at the bottom.
Yeah.
I bag it and I put it in the shower. And I go to you and I tell you, I'm throwing up. I went to the bathroom like 4 or 5 times. I don't know how I hit it, but I did. And I remember mouthwash, and then I'd go out and I'm like, I'm okay. Just tough it out. And then I was like, I'll be right back. I'm gonna be sick again. I wanted to just be there for your parents' Christmas, and the girls were there. Anyways, you were like, I got you. It's okay. We unwrap presents, and you grab the trash bag to grab all the gift wrapping paper to put in the trash bag, and you go into the bathroom and you get my throw up bags, and you don't tell anybody to honor me and not embarrass me. And I just remember feeling this man.
I put it with all the trash, so nobody knew.
So no one knew. Yeah, you put my throw up bags with all the gift wrapping paper. This might be too much information, but that's when I knew.
We were ride or die.
We were ride or die, baby. I was like, this man honors me in my most embarrassing moments right now. Like this. Holy moly. And I think I probably proposed to you again after that.
Yeah, I think you did that night.
That's why I was throwing up. You got the flu after that too. That was awful.
How was it dating a man with 3 girls?
I remember when you wanted me to, after we were dating, and you said, I was just dating. I said I was just dating.
Because you don't have any kids.
Yeah, I don't have any kids. So when we were dating, I hadn't met them yet. And you would show me pictures and you would talk to me about them. And I remember you saying, this is when you asked me to be exclusive. You said, right now all you're experiencing is single Matt. And you like used a hat, like has like pretend hat. And you're like, I have, take this off and I have my dad hat. I want you to experience the one, like the one Matt. Not the Matt that's single, not the Matt that's dad, but just Matt. And I loved that. And I remember when I first met the girls, I was so nervous because at that point we had been dating for a couple months and a couple months. We were exclusive for a couple months, but we had been hanging out for almost a year. Well, 8 months, I guess.
Well, it was like a month on, and then you didn't talk to me for a month or 2, and then a month on, and then you didn't talk to me for 2. Yeah, it was that. Just for clarity.
Just for clarity, so people know.
But yeah, we were exclusive for a couple months.
Yes. And then I met them, and I was just like, this could change everything if they don't like me. If they don't like me, if they're not ready, like if they're protective. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. And I mean, I went a little over the top and like preparing like pasta salad, and I made the most beautiful charcuterie board. Now it's like so sweet because like charcuterie is like all we do in our family now. It's like for dinner.
You made like roses with the salami.
I made roses with the salami. I've never done that ever since. I wanted them to just feel my love, that I felt like I had known them. And I remember meeting them, and they were so sweet and kind to me. Our girls are incredible. Oh, it makes me emotional. They're incredible young women. Yeah. Dating somebody that had daughters, I was nervous about meeting them, but in regards to like my future and becoming a stepmom, God had already given me that peace. And we had talked about that early in dating when you told me you can't have kids, where I said, you asked me if I wanted kids before I knew that you couldn't. And I said, at this point, I have tried to control the relationships that God has placed in my life. And now I'm just trusting God. So if God gives me a man with children, if God gives me a man that can't have kids, if it gives me a man and we have kids, I'm just trusting in whatever he has for me. And I've always felt that way, even in dating. Like, I never had felt this like jealousy of like your attention to them, not me, like, so that I hear these stories with women and husbands and children. I don't know. I don't know if I'm not saying that those situations are not divine. I just think God had been preparing me through all of the stuff that I've experienced, endured, and also inflicted on myself, that I think it just prepared me for, girls that are processing all differently, separately, emotions, highs, lows. I mean, I'm one of 3 girls. And what's so cool is that our girls are the same age gap as me and my sisters.
Yeah.
So in some ways, it's like you see the dynamic. I see the dynamic. I see they're different, but it's like I see the age similarities and how girls are. I mean, I went to an all-girls school. I know girls so well. So it was like...
Yeah, it was divine.
It was. It was like I felt like God prepared me to be a stepmom. I just had no idea he would actually make me one, because I didn't... What's sweet, I think, about in Job, God promises Job, it's like the last chapter, he promises Job that he will restore his life better than his first. And I had prayed that God would restore my life and give me a second chance. And I think it's sweet that, I felt like I wasn't worthy of a healthy relationship. And then to have daughters, it's like, oh my gosh. And then you give me a family. Like, that's so sweet. That you picked that out for me. Not only am I going to be loved by you, but I'm also going to be loved by 3 other girls that I get to call family now. Like, that's such God's kindness.
That's an incredible scripture in Job of like the next half of your life being, more fruitful or better than your first half. And I grew up in a household where divorce wasn't an option. Like, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't in my parents' vocabulary. And so, that was something else too, of like, even walking it through a divorce, I felt more like a failure of like, this isn't supposed to be. Yeah. And to see that God has a redemptive plan on the other side of divorce is pretty incredible. I think for a long time I put a box around God with that. How could it be blessed on the other side? But to see the ripping of a family and the darkness of what divorce is, and then to see the redemptive plan on the other side is pretty amazing. And for in our dating journey, I knew that you were someone that I could see myself with for the rest of my life. And that's why I even like brought the girls in. Because if I wouldn't have seen that, I wouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. So, you know, with counseling and thought, I think I did the best I could navigating, you know, dating after a divorce.
I think you did a pretty good job, babe. And even if you didn't, you'd still be
turned
loved.
out amazing. No. What would you tell somebody who's listening that has just gone through a divorce and they want to date, but maybe they're not ready? Something you've learned through your experience. What would you tell them?
I would tell somebody that is newly divorced, trying to figure out if they want to date or not. My encouragement would be to get to a place where you like yourself being alone. Because if you don't like yourself being alone, you'll pursue other relationships outside of a relationship with yourself. I think you have to have a really healthy relationship with yourself being alone.
If you don't like yourself, then you could project a lot of unhealthy stuff on other people and a relationship.
Yeah, and I think you also seek relationship to fulfill you, which isn't, I mean, that can be part of a dynamic of a relationship, but like you can't, I hate the word like you complete me. Like you can't complete me.
No, yeah, that's good.
You know, like.
Yeah, I used to think that. Yeah, that's not.
I used to think that too. Like,
you have to be a whole person. I have to be a whole person. And we come together and have a whole marriage. It's not like this puzzle piece where like, okay, now our marriage is whole.
Now I'm complete. Yeah. It's like, no, I just don't think that way. I just don't. Because what happens when it ends? And that's the thing. We've both been on the other side of when it does end, whether by my choice or not your choice. And then who are you, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think you've got to find your contentment. And it really, I used to hate it when people would tell me that when I was single. Like, don't tell me to be content being alone. Like, I want to be with somebody. I think that is absolutely a healthy, good desire to want to be with a person. I think that that can be a healthy desire. But I think we pursue relationships. We can pursue relationships to fulfill us, to find our worth in, to see that we have value finally because of the relationship. And that relationship will never become what you're deserving of and what they're deserving of. Yeah. Because eventually they won't be perfect and you won't be perfect. And then all of a sudden, who are you and who are they? You know? Mm-hmm. What about you?
I would say pause. You deserve to focus on yourself for a season. You're worth just focusing on yourself. Don't bring anybody else in the process of trying to feel something, even though you're going to deeply, deeply feel lonely, hurt, vulnerable, and you're going to want to bring something to fill the void there.
Yeah.
I would say you're worth just spending some time on yourself. Get a good therapist, work out, read some books, lean into some knowledge, sleep a lot, and don't feel guilty.
That's a good one.
I slept so much.
Your brain heals when you sleep.
Yeah. Going through, it's a traumatic experience. So you're going to be emotionally exhausted. So your brain's going to be wore out. So yeah, take a break, work on yourself, get a good therapist, work out, sleep a lot, and enjoy the rest if you can. That's what I would say.
That's good advice.
Don't jump into dating right away.
Yeah.
It actually was super healthy for me to not.
Well, ask yourself why. Why are you wanting to? And if it's because you feel lonely, that's when you know.
It will come if you want to pursue it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And lastly, I'd say to anybody listening, like, you are not whole, complete, or worthy of love if you are just in a relationship. Like, you can be loved and whole and complete and not have to be in a relationship.
yep. It's true.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you. Hey, I just wanted to thank you. I wanted to thank you for listening, truly. This would not exist without the people that believe in this message. And so if this episode was helpful, would you share it, like it, subscribe to the podcast? It tells the platforms that our content is worthy to be put in front of more people. So it's not in an ego way, but it is in a way that we hope that this message crosses the paths of people that have never heard the message that you are so worth loving. And so I hope that you walk into this week filled with a confidence in knowing that you're worthy of love. Your worth is not a contest. It's not a competition. And walk into whatever you face this week with confidence in knowing your value and your worth. Until next time.